Hello, my name is Dr. Nessa Keddo. I am a senior lecturer in communications and media here at LCC. I'm also the EDI co-chair for our steering group at LCC, and I've been in this position for about 3 years now. We've been doing some fantastic work as an EDI team at LCC, and over the past academic year we've been able to fund staff and student projects. We've engaged lots more staff, both professional services staff and academic staff, in EDI activity, and we've got a great plan going forward of how we can further some of this work and engagement that we're doing across the college.
My Windrush project, Reimagine Our Futures, is in collaboration with students, alumni, staff, as well as external partners. We are celebrating the 75th anniversary of Windrush Legacy, which is part of a wider national celebration across the UK. I started the process, the research, over a year ago actually it was last Windrush Day, and looking ahead to see how we'd like to celebrate the 75th anniversary here within the college. It's an opportunity for us to deepen our understanding of the legacy of Windrush generations over the last 7 decades.
Inequality issue we are facing in creative industry is evident across the board. So it starts off in university not being equal. So we have a lot of female students. Mostly 60% of our cohort we teach here at LCC are female. However, the longer the career path has been, they seem to all disappear. So we have a X-shaped graph of more women starting, less, and then those fewer male actually rise to the top. So creative directors usually tend to be male. Maybe it is, we don't know the reasons, but that's a part of what we're exploring in the EDI project. They might be based within company politics, there might be personal, that it has a childcare issue, or just losing interest, but yeah, it's just something which backed us, and that EDI project seemed to be a great umbrella to explore that topic and finding solutions, maybe even finding that the issue isn't as great as we think. It's just that there's an archival bias, that archives recorded it wrongly. We just use that as a platform to see where we get to it. It's an open brief.
I am the producer of a series of podcasts called Aromatic Tales. It's funded by the EDI project at UAL, and the aim of it is to bring together some really interesting people from the South Asian communities from London to come and share and tell their stories of their ancestry through the stimulated, aromatic smells of traditional cooking. And that's what this project is about.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Reading Cafe. Started this initiative at the end of 2020, and the initial idea was to try and offer staff development in a different format. So I've always been very, very keen and interested in the EDI subjects, so I applied for the EDI funding to start an EDI book club, which we did, and we named it the Reading Cafe. As you can see in front of me, we've already covered a number of books. We started with Girl, Woman, Other. This was actually during COVID times, so the first meeting that we had was a Teams discussion, attended by probably around 15 to 16 people. Very successful, very interesting. The feedback was excellent, so we decided to continue with the initiative. We pride ourselves on it being a very, very safe space. Some of the subjects that we cover are very sensitive, and people do want to talk about their personal experiences, and also their families, etc., depending on what the subject is and how it relates to them. So we are very, very keen to keep it a confidential and safe space. And I think that is one of our most important factors to this book club and the ongoing success of it as well.
I started here in January and I was really excited coming into post because one of the first things I did was to get involved in the EDI small project fund bid. So that is, and we discovered about that through Canvas. It came about one of the library team, Stephen, was really interested in getting a board game session going in the library, and we developed that idea into a bid for developing wellbeing space and wellbeing resources. The idea was we wanted to really showcase that the library was more than just a resource for academic study, that it was a real space for building community, to engage with different student communities who might not always feel welcome when they just think about the library as a space to come for their academic research. So the bid really focused around two things. It was about looking at how we could create a space that was welcoming and focused around well-being, and how we could then build some resources linked to that really were not based in the academic course support resources that we've always traditionally had to buy. So I think being involved in the project has just been really positive in terms of increasing the library's visibility within the broader community at LCC. It's been really positive for the team as well. There's lots of different bits of work and ideas coming out of the sort of just the shift in focus to community building and to well-being. So we've got our board game sessions going. We've now got a green team who are looking at how we green up the library space. You'll notice there's a lot more plants appearing around the space. We're looking at how we can engage with different community groups within LCC. So we've had really good work with the collections team working with Queer Liberation Society as well, and we're looking now to do some work again with the SU officer around South Asian Heritage Month. So I think all in all the bid has actually opened up way more opportunities than we could have anticipated as well. That's been a real positive tool for just galvanising the team to think differently about how we might interact with our space, how we might encourage students to interact with our space, and how the library can be viewed within the larger LCC community.
I received EDI funding to help with a studio lab project that I ran with an external practitioner called Alexa Polman. She's from the fashion industry, she works at LCF, and together we created a 4-workshop mini project looking at fashion, digital fashion and identity. I suppose a few interesting takeaways from that have been that perhaps identity wasn't necessarily something that people explicitly thought about in their work. And even though it was probably present in the particular interests that they were kind of focusing on, maybe it wasn't something that they'd drawn out and looked at as its own kind of individual area. So students responded by communicating that that was something, a kind of insight that they were now looking at in relation to their own work.
I worked with BDI in collaboration with the team to fund an initiative called New Waves. New Waves allows us to do multi-broadcast live streams out to audiences, and what EDI supported specifically was the training of a number of BA photography students to take part in a live stream that would work with Photo Fusion, a gallery in Brixton, to do a live artist talk online for one of the new shows, which was at the time was called Black Boy Joy, a show curated by a young person of colour, Destiny Page, which celebrated the black experience and 14 new artists who were looking at the black experience from a young perspective. This was a great way of training up young people from the BA photography program to network with industry, to form new partnerships, and to really learn from the experiences of artists of colour who are having to navigate the arts industry in new and interesting ways.
In terms of the EDI team at LCC, we have 3 core members. So we have Josephine Collins, who is the EDI lead and a co-chair of the EDI steering group. We have myself, who is the EDI co-chair as part of the steering group. And we also have Berekhet Berakhy, who is working with us as the EDI officer at LCC. And this is a great initiative because we are the only one of UAL's colleges that has an officer who is working with us in the EDI team, and that has been super substantial in terms of improving engagement and the amount of activity and impactful work that we're able to do at LCC.
It's an amazing array this year, and we're hoping that looking at these projects from this year will inspire more people to apply next year. The applications will be open from September, from the beginning of the new academic year.
Our ambition is to ensure equality and diversity and inclusion remains at the core of all that we do, and that all members of our community, both staff and students, are empowered to reach their full potential. Our Equality and Diversity team are committed to creating a supportive, inclusive environment where students and staff can bring their whole selves to work. And through the projects that you see on display here today, you'll see that we are doing all that we can to make sure that this feels like home to all our staff and students. And I hope that you make some time to talk to the staff who are responsible for this project, to get to understand their motivations and their drives and the thing that's kind of driven them to create these projects, and find out about some of the outcomes from these projects as well. Thank you very much.